Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today I have probably the most unique and original video I've come up with to date. And I liked it so much, I decided to make it a tag video, which is a little out of my wheelhouse. I'm not real big on tag videos because as a YouTuber and other YouTubers, we all have our own creative minds to where we always want to stand out from the crowd. So to me, tag videos are kind of fun, but not something I usually partake in unless it's something that I find to be really interesting or from one of my more favorite YouTubers. You know, I'm always willing to play along and give my input. So I thought this one would be a good one, though, because there's so many options of what each YouTuber could end up with. And what would they end up with? Well, as you saw from the thumbnail, it's going to be my Mount Rushmore of knives. Now, I'm sure you've all heard before different people talking about Mount Rushmore of this or that, whether it be NFL quarterbacks or basketball players or Major League Baseball pitchers. It's basically just picking your top 4 players or top 4 anything of a respective topic or category. And I thought that was kind of boring about knives because we already have top 10s, top 5s, top 20s, top this, top that, to where you already see the best of, one genre all the time. So what I decided to do was, instead of just taking my 4 best knives, I found an interesting fact about each one of these presidents, and I used that fact to make a type of knife or a category. You'll see as we go along just exactly what I stirred up here. I'm pretty sure you're going to really enjoy this. And I'm really enjoying to see the other YouTubers Mount Rushmore of knives, because I know these guys and gals and people, they have a pretty nice collection or selection at any given moment. So I'm really looking forward to see that. I hope to see some participation from this. And of course, the YouTubers I'm mentioning, by all means, feel free to keep the tags going and see what everyone else has. So here are the YouTubers I've tagged in this video: Mild-Mannered EDC, Sharpened Blade, No Nonsense EDC, Bearded Gear, Neeves Knives, Everyday City Carry, Stasa 23, Metal Complex, Big Red EDC, The Knife Beater, Birdshot, Epic Snuggle Bunny, Slicey Dicey, and Nick Shabazz. So there you guys go. If you guys aren't subscribed to all those channels, you definitely should. They all provide fantastic content and well worth your time to watch and check out everything they create. Now, with that being said, let's get going. Let's start off with George Washington. Now, if you didn't know this, George Washington was a very tough man to kill. A tall and robust man, Washington survived multiple life-threatening situations. At various points, Washington had diphtheria, tuberculosis, smallpox, malaria, dysentery, quinsy, carbuncle, and pneumonia. He survived near drowning in an ice-clogged river. He survived the burning and massacre of Fort Necessity. He survived 2 horses being shot out from under him and 4 bullets passing through close enough to pierce his clothing, all in one battle. So, for George Washington, we gotta go with our toughest knife. Your overall toughest knife in my collection is definitely my Chris Reeve Umnumzaan. And this one is probably no surprise to anyone. If you saw my video on toughest knives, you saw this one took the top spot, and no way could I go away from it at this point. Everyone knows Chris Reeves is synonymous with excellent, top-of-the-line quality, extremely tight standards on all of his knives, and the Umnumzaan very well may be the best example of that. Of course, you could always go with the Sebenza. I'm a little partial to the Umnumzaan. I really do love this knife. And it is sturdy as a tank and can take a beating. So, for my toughest knife and George Washington, we have the Chris Reeve knife Umnumzaan. Now, let's move on to the next one. And that would be Thomas Jefferson. And this is a pretty interesting one. Did you guys know Thomas Jefferson played a big part in popularizing ice cream in the United States? Jefferson spent time in France in the 1700s as a diplomat, and that's where he was likely introduced to the dessert delicacy known as ice cream. So he obviously gained a pretty big love, and he brought some of that back to the U.S. He also left behind what may be the first ice cream recipe in America, being 6 egg yolks, a half pound of sugar, 2 bottles of cream, and 1 vanilla bean. Good God, no wonder people didn't live that long back in the day. So there you go. So ice cream, Thomas Jefferson, I'm going to pick my sweetest knife. Sweetest knife for this category, and we don't have to talk quality, we don't have to talk action. I mean, obviously I think all that stuff factors into it, but there's no specific thing here, just my sweetest knife. And for me, my sweetest knife will also be one of my more unique knives, something that I've put my own little touch on. And for me, it's hard to go away from my ZT0640 with sharp dressed knives, micarta scale, and a Lynch deep carry clip. The only thing this needs is I would like to get a different disc up top here, maybe one that's kind of bronzed to match a little more with the micarta, a little wider, or even like a rectangular square shape, kind of like what they have on the special Protect knives. I can't think of it right now, but it has a nice little thumb plate up there. I wouldn't mind swapping out this thumb plate with something a little more unique. But nonetheless, I've always loved this knife, and even stock, I really liked it. But when I added these scales and this clip, for me, it's just, I think this may also be one of the best knives that describes me. I've said it before, I call this my adventure knife. If I had to go on a big adventure, a once in a lifetime type thing, this is the knife I would take, because I don't know, to me, it just looks like an adventure knife, so I'm calling it that, and it is definitely, in my opinion, as of right now, my sweetest knife. So we'll put that right there. Now, let's move on to Theodore Roosevelt. Did you know Theodore Roosevelt was the first president to leave the country? Roosevelt, who had petitioned for the construction of the Panama Canal for years, couldn't resist an opportunity to see the site for himself when plans were finally underway. In 1906, he visited Panama, and in doing so became the first president to travel outside of the U.S. while holding office. So this is an easy one. For Theodore Roosevelt, I'm going to be picking my favorite imported knife. That knife can be imported from anywhere. It can be imported from China. It can be imported from Italy, Japan. I don't care. As long as it's imported from outside of the United States, that's all we need. And for that, I flip-flop back and forth. I was kind of stuck on the Waypoint, but recently I have absolutely fallen in love with this Snecx Mini Buster, and right now this is this is the hot item for the moment. It is my favorite imported knife and my sweetest knife. All these knives, you guys, as your collection grows and changes, and sometimes your ideas of what you really like change, it can always be a little different, but right now I'm really in love with the Snecx Mini Buster. I love the simple but very unique and attractive design. I love the blade shape. The ergos are great, and the action is just fantastic and very, very unique. Sounds, feels great. Just a really great piece by Reeve. In my opinion, one of the best knives Reeve has ever produced. So, for best imported knife, favorite imported knife, we are going with the Snecx Mini Buster. We'll set that right there for now. And now we've got one more, and that would be Abraham Lincoln. And this may be my favorite fact of all the presidents. I didn't know this and thought it was pretty cool. Did you know that Abraham Lincoln is the only president to ever obtain a patent? After being aboard a steamboat that ran around on low shoals and had to unload its cargo, Lincoln, who loved tinkering with machines, designed a method of keeping vessels afloat when traveling shallow waters through the use of empty metal air chambers attached to their sides. For this design, Lincoln obtained patent number 6469 in 1849. So that's pretty interesting. So obviously, for this subject here, I'm going to be picking my favorite knife with a patent. And this is where it can get really tricky, because patents obviously come and go. So for this one, for this category, for everyone else participating, any patent, whether it's currently active or non-active, for example, the Benchmade Axis lock, obviously that patent has expired, but everyone still knows the Axis lock for Benchmade. So pick your favorite patented any patent on a knife. And then also, Benchmade has a lot of models with that. So your favorite patent with your favorite knife that has that patent. Now, I'm going to take a popular one here, and it's definitely, I think, the best locking, the most unique, innovative locking mechanism to come into the knife world in a long, long, long time, and that is the Demco Knives Shark Lock. This is the AD20, and this is easily one of my favorite knives. I could have just as easily picked this as my sweetest knife, but there's nothing super unique about this one knife as to where I think this one, for me, is a little more unique, and I put a lot of value into having unique pieces and putting my own touch on it. But we all know, or maybe we don't all know, but if you've experienced it, this Shark Lock, to me, totally changes the game. I'm not saying it's the strongest lock in the knife industry, but it is definitely the most fidget-friendly and just cool. It also adds to the ergonomics. It's great to put your thumb there, especially even with little bigger hands. My thumb doesn't come over and feel uncomfortable. It sits on it just fine, and I have a full purchase on the bottom. And then if I ever want to choke up, my thumb goes over it, not on it, and on the great jimping. Just a very, very well thought out knife, designed with everything placed in the right spot, and I just absolutely love it. And that is the Demco Knives AD20 with the patented Shark Lock. So there you go, guys. There is my Mount Rushmore of knives. The Reeve Umnumzaan, the ZT0640, the Snecx Mini Buster, and the Demco AD20 with the Shark Lock. So what do you guys think? Like I said, as you know now, there's a lot of options here to put your own Mount Rushmore together. I'm really looking forward to see the YouTubers I tagged, see what their lists come up with. I hope everyone participates in it. If not, I still had fun doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.